Hello everyone, this is Dr. Humanist again. Let us now study the science of obesity. Okay, basically we are studying adipocyte, how it is affecting us. We are studying adipocyte as an endocrine organ. Okay, so types of adipose tissue, we know white one, brown one. White is mainly responsible for energy storage and it secretes lot of adipokines and regulate metabolism, right? And whereas brown adipose tissue, it is involved in thermogenesis. Okay. Now coming to the main topic, that is adipocyte as an endocrine function. Okay. What are those key adipokines? Okay. Whatever the molecules, bioactive molecules or hormones are secreted by adipocyte are called as adipokines. Okay. First one is the leptin. Okay. Leptin is a good hormone, right? What it does is it will inhibit the hunger. In the hypothalamus, the satiety center it activates. Okay, so that's why you know uh, in leptin resistance we'll get obesity because there is excessive intake of energy that will lead to obesity in extensive eating and then obesity, right? Okay, so leptin, as I said, is a good hormone. It modulates the glucose homeostasis, lipid metabolism, and promoting the insulin sensitivity, right? It does the opposite to the diabetes. Okay, next is adiponectin. It is also good hormone. Okay, as it enhances the insulin sensitivity, regulates the glucose levels, and increases the fatty acid oxidation. It's a good hormone. So during obesity, what it is found that leptin it will increase in obesity, but in if you it is not the same case in the adiponectin. They found that those who are obese, the adiponectin will decrease. Okay, and then decreased levels of adiponectin, there is the associated risk of insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases. Adiponectin has insulin sensitivity action, also, it has anti inflammatory effects. It protects against the atherosclerosis by production of pro inflammatory cytokines. So, it is found that one of the hypotheses that these no particular individuals who are very lean and thin since beginning, means when you if you see them, they'll eat a lot but still they won't put up any weight. So genetically their adiponectins are high, which are good hormones, right? Adiponectins. But some people, if even if they eat for 1 or 2 days more they feel like they are going to gain weight, right? Next one, we'll see resistin. Resistin is a bad hormone because it is associated with insulin resistance and inflammation. Okay, so role in obesity, the resistant level will increase in obesity and it will lead to insulin resistance, that is diabetes, and potential link between obesity and type 2 diabetes is because of the resistance. Okay, also it promotes the pro-inflammatory cytokines release. It impairs the glucose metabolism, as I said, because insulin resistance it will cause, and there is increased risk of metabolic syndrome. Next is inflammatory markers. We'll see tumor necrosis factor alpha and interleukin 6. Both are pro-inflammatory markers. So as we know, because in the obesity there is an increased low grade inflammation will happen, so increased pro-inflammatory cytokines like TNF alpha and interleukin 6 will there. So now they are increasing risk of atherosclerosis, impaired lipid metabolism, okay, and leading to metabolic syndrome. So these are three we see. Resistin is a bad, tumor necrosis alpha is bad, that cause pro-inflammatory stage, and interleukin 6 also same. Now next is plasminogen activator inhibitor 1, PAI1. So we say that obesity, they'll have more risk of thrombotic diseases like stroke or myocardial infection. Why does it happen? So plasminogen activator inhibitor 1, what it does is it will not let the plasminogen convert to plasmin, right? What does plasmin do? It will inhibit the clot, that is the fibrin, right? So when we are not activating this pathway, that means there is a fibrin clot is nobody is to there to degrade it. So it is a prothrombotic time, right? So even if you see, the strokes are maximum during the early morning. Why? Because naturally also this plasminogen activator inhibitor 1, it is more during the early morning. So that's why there is a stroke commonly during the early mornings. So what we see is in the obesity, these levels, these inhibitors of plasminogen activator are more. That's why they are at risk of thrombosis and cardiovascular diseases. Next, coming to the angiotensinogen. So surprisingly, angiotensinogen is mainly produced by liver. Okay, but you can understand that angiotensinogen is also produced by adipose tissues, and you know that angiotensinogen is converted to angiotensinogen 2, which will lead to vasoconstriction, hypertension, increased aldosterone levels that will cause sodium retention, that would again lead to hypertension, right? So that's how the obesity is linked to cause hypertension and metabolic syndrome. Okay, now next is free fatty acids. So there is a lot of fats present in the adipocytes. So it is released, free fatty acids are released during lipolysis, right, for the energy source. So what happens during obesity is these free fatty acids are increased. That will lead to dyslipidemia and insulin resistance. So that's why they are promoting the insulin resistance and pro-inflammatory state and metabolic complications. Okay, so these are all the endocrine effects of the adipocytes. So there are two good hormones, that is leptin and adiponectin, and others like resistin, tumor necrosis factor alpha, interleukin 6, plasminogen activator inhibitor, angiotensinogen. Free fatty acids are somehow bad. So more the obesity, if these levels are increasing, it will cause more problem, more metabolic syndrome, and complications like type 2 diabetes and hypertension will be there. Now coming to the other effects, adipocyte tissue as immune organ. It even acts like immune organ, like there will be presence of macrophages, T cells and B cells. But during obesity, there is an imbalance between the pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory immune cells that will lead to chronic inflammation state. Okay, which is a major contributor for insulin resistance and metabolic diseases. Now we'll see the summary. Okay, what happens is in obesity and metabolic syndrome, if we see, so there is adipocyte hypertrophy, right? There is increased fat cell size. So that's why there is a increased production of pro-inflammatory adipokines, that is TNF alpha and interleukin 6. And there is a decreased production of anti-inflammatory and insulin sensitizing adipokines, that is adiponectin, as we just saw. Now this dysfunctional adipose tissue environment promotes what? Insulin resistance, dyslipidemia, atherosclerosis, hypertension, and type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. That's why the obesity is how is causing metabolic syndrome. As it is a pro-inflammatory stage, that will cause insulin resistance. Angiotensinogen is released a lot, that will cause hypertension. Lot of free fatty acids are released, that will cause dyslipidemia. Okay, so what are the therapeutic implications of this? So they are, still trials are going on for leptin sensitizers for the obese individuals, and anti-inflammatory agents also they have tried in the obesity. Still it is not approved, but TNF alpha inhibitors like infliximab, etanercept, all they have trying for the obesity induced insulin resistance. Okay, next is lifestyle intervention. So lifestyle intervention, they saw that there is when the adipose tissue are decreased, the function of it increases, and that's how the adiponectin levels are increased, which reduces the pro-inflammatory adipokines. Thank you.